Lloyd Austin is the nation's first African-American defense secretary and an outspoken supporter of diversity in the military. He believes it is still a strength for the armed forces. But President-elect Trump's pick to lead the Defense Department disagrees. I want to bring in CBS News senior national correspondent Charlie D'Agata for more on this. Charlie, we've heard that Trump's pick for defense secretary wants to take the military. Okay, I don't understand what any of that means in the prompter. Let me just ask you. We've heard the words that Pete Hegseth has suggested he would undertake were he to be the defense secretary of the United States. He's talked about going back to the pre-woke version of the Department of Defense. He talks about not having women serve in combat arms, which is something that I interviewed a young artillery officer in the Marine Corps a few years ago, Charlie, and she didn't even know a world where women were not able to be in combat arms because she went to the military academy at Annapolis before that was even a thing. And so what are some of the things that would distinguish Lloyd Austin and Hegseth beyond those?
Yeah, well, Vlad, first of all, I would highly recommend anybody watching now to go to the website when they get a chance to see David Martin's excellent profile of Secretary Austin on our Sunday morning program, because he addresses these issues head on. So Hegseth has accused the Pentagon of weakening its forces by ramming stuff. Those are his words, like selection, gender, and race. That when the Pentagon says diversity is our strength, that's a bunch of garbage. Again, his words. So, as you said, Austin is the first African-American Secretary of Defense. Before that, the first African-American to command a division in combat. That was in Iraq. Also the first African-American to command an entire theater of war. So in essence, like, his argument is saying, look, I know where this is coming from. I've been there. I've worked my way on up. His Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Charles C.Q. Brown, is also an African-American. But he really doubled down when it came to women in combat, which Hegseth has said he's against. He said it weakens the frontline forces. I have to say, he's not alone in that argument. But, Austin said he's seen women in combat. He doesn't need to guess at it, in his words. He recalled in that interview with David, when he was facing battle in combat in Iraq, he said to the group there, look, if you don't want to be part of this fight, I won't think less of you. And one of them piped up, said, look, and I'm quoting him here, he said, sir, what are you talking about? And he said, well, what they were telling me was like, quit talking, let's get to the fight. And Vlad, as you said, I've done countless embeds in some of the most dangerous areas in the world, and women were right there on the front lines.
Yeah, it will be interesting, beyond the controversy that Mr. Hegseth has faced for some of his past actions, to see how senators, both on the right and the left, Democrat and Republican, react to some of those things that he said that he would like to implement should he be named the defense secretary. So that's to be continued. Let me ask you about something else, Charlie. Over the weekend, the USS Harry S. Truman Carrier Group entered the CENTCOM area of responsibility. What does that mean for people who may not get it?
Yeah, well, okay, so let's break it down. First of all, the Carrier Strike Group entered CENTCOM region of the AOR, Area of Responsibility. That's the military's term. So it includes the carrier itself and the fighter aircraft on board, 2 guided missile destroyers, and a cruiser, the USS Gettysburg in this case. So the official reason, this came from the statement from the DoD over the weekend, is to ensure stability and security. That CENTCOM region, that encompasses most of the Middle East. That's why we hear it all the time. So the Truman had been in the European Command, which is in the Mediterranean, really just off the coast of like Israel, so not far away. But the CENTCOM region itself has had 1, if not 2, carrier strike groups in that region. And that all happened after October 7th, when Israel began facing threats not just from Hezbollah, but Iran. So it's been a few weeks since a carrier has been there. At times, the U.S. military has been directly involved. Excuse me, I've got a cold. In intercepting missiles from both. They've been intercepting missiles from Houthis in Yemen. That's also part of that CENTCOM region. And of course, we got to say it. They're facing more instability in Syria. There are roughly 900 U.S. service members there that are deployed. You saw that in Hawley's report. Force protection is the #1 priority for the Defense Department. So I guess part of the decision-making would be force protection in that process. And there is no greater flex than a carrier and its strike group. So I wouldn't necessarily see it as like an escalation. The entire region remains unstable. But this just gives the military command at CENTCOM the options for whatever may come.
Excellent breakdown as always, Charlie. Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you.